Hey Shackers, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Switch 2. I'm your host, Asif Khan. I'm CEO, Editor-in-Chief, EIEIO here at Shacknews. That stands for Extremely Intelligent, Extreme Intelligence Officer. At a time of AI, I have created EI to make line go up here at Shacknews, and since no one else can vet my information, I'm just going to say line go up. Sound like a plan? I am joined here by my usual co-hosts. I have our news editor, Donovan Erskine, here.
What's up?
Rocking that HBCU shirt this Black History Month. Love to see it.
There you go. Yeah, starting off right.
Hell yeah. And I have head of long reads and managing editor at Shacknews, and currently working on a long read, David Craddock here.
Hey.
Hey. We have a jam-packed episode for the folks at home. Yeah, a couple weeks ago we were like, is there really any news to talk about? Well, there's a lot of news to talk about now. So let's get into it. Man, we're going to just to give folks a preview, we have Donovan went to a Nintendo event where he played a bunch of different games on the Nintendo Switch 2 entertainment system. Nintendo reported earnings last night. We're filming this on the 3rd of February. The evening of the 2nd in America, Nintendo reported their earnings results. We're going to go through that. We're going to talk about Animal Crossing and the Tomodachi Life Direct, and we're going to get into the Dispatch censorship stuff. So that's what's coming up on this episode. But Donovan, you got to go to New York City, as you tend to do.
Yeah.
That's your second home.
And
really.
You played a series of Nintendo Switch 2 previews. I want to start with the one I'm most jealous of you. You've played Mario Tennis Fever.
I did. And they gave me this tennis ball for doing it.
Is that like a stress ball?
It's a straight up tennis ball. It's an actual purple tennis ball.
Wow.
A Waluigi tennis ball.
They had a basket of them and they were like, take one. I like purple. I took purple.
Oh, so there were like other colors. You chose the Waluigi ball.
Yes, and I played as Baby Waluigi, who was a new character in Mario Tennis Fever during the preview, which was a lot of fun. It was one of my favorite games I got to play there. I think maybe 4 or 5 matches I played. I got to do some singles, some doubles. I played a game with Fever rackets on. I played a game with them off. And I think the kind of principle I emerged with, or the principle I thought I emerged with was that this game's going to do a good job at balancing both the like arcadey Mario Tennis experience, where you've got these Fever rackets, which are essentially power-ups that every racket can do. You know, there's like the fire racket that shoots fireballs, and the ice racket creates ice terrain, makes your opponent slip. But then there's also just like a solid tennis game beneath it. I liked Asus a lot, but this feels almost closer to like a proper tennis game or sim than that one did, I think. Just because there is such an emphasis on backhand, forehand, all the different like the back spins you can put on the ball. A lot of input. I didn't play with motion controls; it was all on Pro Controller, but it just felt like moving around the court. There was so much like to balance and juggle before you even got into the power ups and stuff. The courts themselves, there are a lot more venues to play in this time around. We were limited to the ones we could choose. There were a few that were just like standard arenas. Then we played on like a wonder court that had all sorts of weird effects going on. But I think the Fever rackets are such a fun mechanic. During my time, they were all unlocked, but it sounds like they're going to be a thing you progressively earn throughout the different game modes, right? Like there'll be a certain amount available at the start of the game, and then adventure mode, other game modes, you'll earn more Fever rackets. I used the Shadow racket, which we had there was a spin wheel at the station that decided what racket we would use as like a fun gimmick thing. So I spun the Shadow racket, which when you activate that one, for like 20 seconds, you have a clone of your character that'll just run around the court on your side, independent of you, and they'll just chase balls. It's like having a 2v1 essentially. That one was really fun. Yeah. The Thwomp racket I liked a lot, where if that one hits the ground, it will spawn like a thwomp up in the air, and it becomes like this obstacle where you go to hit the ball and it hits the thwomp and falls down, and that's a point on your side.
So that's like where the ball lands?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll spring up there. Now, there's an interesting kind of twist to the Fever racket mechanic where like when you activate the effect, for it to take place, the ball needs to like land or bounce once on the other side of the court. But if the other team can like get to it and hit it back before it bounces,
Yeah,
and it lands on
volley.
your side, Yeah, volley. Yeah, they volley back to you. Then you have to deal with those issues. So my first game using the Thwomp Racket, I activated, I hit it over, and somebody gets right under it and tips it back over the net. And then me and my teammate had like a Thwomp in the middle of our like net for the next like 15 seconds, and we lost points because of it. And I was like, shit, that's my own doing. I thought that was fun. Character roster is huge. I mentioned Baby Waluigi, who is brand new, but it definitely feels like the everybody's here of Mario Tennis games.
You know, it's interesting you mention, like, Fever Racket seemed to be, like, a large part of this, obviously, it's in the name. You played Aces as well. Those power shots in Aces, like, it was like these anime cutscenes almost every time you triggered them, right? And yeah, there was some timing mechanics to them, but they were, like, kind of like almost QTE-like, and they kind of dragged you away from the fast-paced gameplay. It feels like Fever Rackets don't do that. Like, it's like you're just playing, right?
Correct. Yeah, when you activate a fever shot, I believe is the official term, there is like time slows down and it's like this epic shot where you go up in slow motion and you hit and then the effect takes place. But there's no like input required. There's no QT. There's no like timing thing.
So it's like bullet time almost?
Yeah, I think honestly, if anything, that probably exists just to give the other team a fighting chance to not just get points automatically scored on them. You can anticipate that they're about to shoot like a fireball or whatever it's about to be.
And that's another thing I thought was kind of lame about the power shots and Aces was like they were almost like you're screwed, you know? Like,
yeah,
I think it was Bowser Jr. had like a ridiculous one. Like there were a few of them where you're just like, I'm not going to be able to hit this back. At least there's like a chance of you getting a return, and even when it lands, it does that effect, like you said, the thwomp or whatever. That's interesting. So like the Shadow Racket, does the ball have to land for your second character to appear?
So that's a good question. No, so I guess they don't. I guess it's only offensive ones that work that way.
Okay.
Because the Shadow Racket, you go up to do the slow mo animation thing, and it does this thing where like a second you comes in and you hit it together.
Okay.
And then the play continues, and now there's a second you.
Okay.
But, activated it a few times, and there was never any like counter.
Because there's also one that like I remember in the overview trailer they posted where like Bowser had one that made him go faster. So it's like that.
Yes. That one's crazy. My teammate, we did a doubles. My teammate got that one, and he like turned to me halfway through the game, and he was like, "This one's really good," because you activate it, and it's just like wherever they hit that ball, you just zoom, 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 zoom.
I'm telling you, when I saw that in the overview trailer, I'm like, this one might be OP because Bowser kind of sucks because he's slow, but if you get the power of Bowser with the freaking speed of that racket, like, that could be an unstoppable combo. So, like, I can't wait to see how the meta unfolds in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and they have, like, a ranked mode. There's a non-Fever Racket mode that I think is going to be still pretty fun. But the rackets themselves seem pretty cool, and there's so many. There's, like, I think 36 or 37. There were a couple that we couldn't use, that they're supposed to be like, don't click that one. But there were... I don't know. There were one pretty much any Mario power up that exists. There was like a corresponding.
I'm just laughing because like Nintendo with their arbitrary preview embargoes it's just so funny. It's like, don't show this racket. It's like, what's gonna happen? like, what are people like? I'm not buying Mario Tennis Fever now that I have had this racket spoiled 2 weeks before launch. How dare you, Shacknews?
Racket spoilers.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so ridiculous. Like some of the Nintendo embargoes are like taking a standardized test where it's like, you remember those ones where it's like 4 statements. It's like the Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then like the answers are A, 1 and 2, but not 3. B, 2 and 4, but not 1. It's like a Nintendo preview embargo is like taking a standardized test with those questions in it. So it's just, I find that hilarious, Donovan, that they're like, not that racket. Don't you dare tell people about that racket. But these 30 are fine.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that was all about. One thing that I do want to say about this game as well, it looks beautiful. There was like a moment where I was in the middle of like my first game, and I was like, oh, right, this is a Switch 2 game. This is not a Switch 1 game. This is a Switch 2 game. All the character models look so good. I'll throw a statement out there that might need to be verified, but this has to be like the first major gathering of all these characters on a Switch 2 exclusive game, right? There's like 30 plus characters on this roster, I'm looking at like this Peach,
Sounds
Rosalina,
right.
Daisy, Pauline, Waluigi, Wario, Yoshi, all the different Mario Luigi versions, and just seeing them all now in whatever HD, 4K, whatever the great
Maybe
resolutions are.
2K. Yeah.
Yeah, probably 2K, big TV. Seeing all the models, the animations, the zoom in, cinematic cuts. I was like, this game looks really good.
I mean, the I think the most recent comparison that we have is Mario Kart World, which you have established you hate that roster because it has a bunch of characters you don't give a fuck about. But this is actually like, you're right. This is like 38.
roster.
This is 38 characters with a lot of those Mario characters. This is part of that Mario 40th anniversary celebration. So it is like, this is like, hey, you know, we're in that Mario year still. Like, it's funny, David, how the anniversary was in September, but it's like they carry it from September to September almost. So it's like,
Yeah.
I know we have another anniversary coming up this month for Zelda. It feels like they're going to carry that, you know,
Yeah.
over to next year with the Zelda movie.
And really, they've almost already started because we got the Zelda items in Animal Crossing 3.0.
Yeah.
So, but Donovan, one thing I wondered about Mario Tennis Fever, how do the characters feel independent of the rackets? Like, is there any difference between them, or can you just play whoever you want? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think they have stats. I believe that
Okay.
was a like speed and strength and stuff like that. There's like
Okay.
a button toggle you could press when you were in the selection screen.
And
So that- those
historically,
rackets.
there's always been like Mario was a top spin player, and like Waluigi was more of a slice player. Boo, I think Boo had like a slice to their shot. I think like that's kind of been in the game, David, since the 64 version.
I that's the last one I played. I don't think I ever played the last one on Switch, so I
Yeah.
could not remember. But that's
Yeah,
good to know. Did you get a chance to play the isn't there like a mode where you can disable all the fever rackets if you just want to play regular tennis?
Yeah, I did do one of those. Yeah, where it was just a standard,
Okay.
just tennis, just a rally back and forth, which was fun. That was what I was like. This is gonna be a good time. I can see myself like, you know, for a couple weekends getting super into like the online ranked grind of this, just trying to like beat people in straight up tennis. But yeah, I mean, I didn't check out. I mean, I only played like 5 matches. I played 5 different characters, but some of those that stood out to me. Luma was on the roster. Luma and Rosalina are separate characters, but they're both in there. I played as Nabbit. Diddy Kong is in there as well as obviously Donkey Kong. There's a banana racket, so I did a game where I was Diddy Kong and I used the banana racket. Which is fun. That one just it scatters bananas on the court. Yeah, but like I said, it definitely feels like an everybody's here Mario tennis game.
I thought that the Nintendo, like the Mario sports titles, kind of had a weak showing on Switch. I didn't like golf, and I liked Aces, but it had its moment in the sun and then it kind of faded away. This seems like they went kind of hard to the paint here, Diamond, with like the modes. Did you get to try the single player at all?
No, I wish I could have. I didn't get to play adventure mode. That would
Okay.
have been nice. I played a Wonder Court match, or a Wonder match, I guess it's just called.
Yeah.
Which is obviously Mario Wonder influence. In fact, I think even in the standard mode, if I'm remembering correctly, they still have like the Wonder Flower will like talk and stuff and commentate on games, and he'll chime in and be like, "Wow, Rosalina, what the serve?" Stuff like that. But in the Wonder match, they changed the rules a bit, so you're no longer using the standard tennis scoring system. Now it's just like first to a certain number of Wonder Seeds. It might have been 7, something like that.
Okay.
Where scoring, you get a Wonder Seed, and then during a match, like a Wonder effect will activate. I only saw one. The one we got when I was playing was a bunch of Hoppos appeared on the court, and it was like maybe like a dozen. They were all bouncing around, and we could like hit them, and they'd like bump into people and knock them off. They're out, out of place. And there was like one that was glowing that we had to hit to get points. That one felt a little weird. We were kind of like running. It lasted for a long time because we were all just like running, trying to like find the glowing one. We kept getting hit. We didn't know what was going on. But that one's more of like a, I guess, open-ended, sillier mode. There's apparently a bunch of those different effects, but I only saw the Hoppo one.
Interesting. Is Elephant Mario in this game?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I saw him as a character select option, but maybe there's something in that Wonder mode. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because when I see a Wonder Seed, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
like how far are we going here? That's interesting. I'm intrigued. So this game comes out in like what? It's like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, like 10 days, or like 11
I
days.
think it's like late next week.
Yeah.
Maybe like mid-February.
I thought it was the 14th or the 12th or something.
Could be, yeah. That'd be like mid next week or late next week, I think.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You mentioned like all this Mario sports games on the Switch One. Somebody made a good point I saw on social media the last few days that this could end up being like a cool comeback for Camelot. They wrote the Mario sports folks for all those recent titles. Obviously, Mario Golf was not the best swan song for those games on Switch. So
it is
cool.
February 12th. So
Okay, yeah.
perfect birthday present for me. Which I'll probably have to buy for myself.
But I told it to you guys off air, but we're gonna stream the hell out of this game. This is gonna be a fun one for
That's what I was thinking.
I am down for a game to get me out of my ball pit haze. Although Animal Crossing has kind of done that. I don't have to provide a ball pit update this episode. You guys know I'm still playing it. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to tell the folks at home about Fever, or are you just excited to play it more?
That covers it. I'm excited to play it more. I think it's going to be really fun. I look forward to seeing what people do with it because there's a lot of permutations of character in Fever Racket, and people are going to come up with stuff that I have not thought about yet.
Yeah, I'm just interested to I historically I find a main pretty quickly in those games, and I just kind of stick with them. But it feels like this game, because it has so many different combos, like I'm going to want to experiment more than I historically would in a Mario sports title. Like usually in Mario Golf, it's like once you get to like Metal Mario or something, it's like that's your guy. Or like some people like DK and I'm interested here. I like Luigi and Mario historically in these, but I have a feeling like I'm going to be messing around. I want to see these babies. I want to see Diddy Kong. Was Bowser Jr. playable?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. He was really good in Aces. So I'm curious, that's a game that, it sounds so silly because it's like a Mario sports game, but there is like an actual competitive meta that will play out in this game.
They're going to have a rank ladder, so yeah, there's going to be at least some of that.
And now here's where I ask for another Mario baseball game. Someday. And then next up, you got to try out what I think might be the longest title of a video game ever. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, Bellabel Park.
Plus Meetup in Bellabel Park.
Plus Meetup in Bellabel Park.
Yep.
That's the name of this?
Yeah, which is like, they're full on trolling now. Like, now it's like we know we're being silly with this. Even, at the event, every time they talk to us, the demoists and PR people are, smiling as they say the title because they have to. And it's like, we know what we're doing at this point. But yes, it's the Switch 2 version of Mario Bros. Wonder. I only got to play the Meetup in Bellabel Park stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't, go through, a standard level. But we got to see, Rosalina. I played as her for a couple mini games. She's the new playable character here.
Did you see Elephant Rosalina?
I don't. Maybe she might have been in there. There was a level where we're turning into elephants.
I don't know. There's a theme on this episode so far. I just want to know more about Elephant Power Up.
Yeah, characters. I think the Bellabel Park stuff though to me is best described as like a 2D Mario Party, which I wasn't really expecting because essentially it's like a carnival or a circus, and you go to these different stations, and one will be a co-op station, and one will be like a PvP station. And they have different games based on different themes. So there was one where we all carried baby Yoshi dinosaurs, and we had to feed them. We were going through a level, and there were these fruit that were in the air and flying around, and you would jump into one, and your baby Yoshi would eat it. You get 1 point, and it'd be a golden one that was 10 points, and there was a scoreboard at the top with all of our points. And of course, it's a Mario level, so it gets chaotic, and there's platforming challenges and stuff. There were ones like that. There was King Boo, or maybe it was just Boo. One where we were essentially trying to collect coins in a level to get the most amount of money, but there was a Boo in the background, sleeping. And when he woke up, if you were moving, you would get hit and lose a bunch of coins. So you'd have to grab as many as you could, then stop, freeze when he woke up, and then go back to it. There was
So it's like
a
red light,
race.
green light, basically.
It was, yeah, it was like a red light, green light. It's almost like the Wiggler mini game in Mario Party. It
Okay.
has a similar sort of stop things don't wake Wiggler.
It sounds like a combo, Donovan, of like new Super Mario Bros. And Mario Party kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, because they do a lot of the backdrop to a lot of these challenges is like a Mario Bros. Level, like a 2D Mario Bros. Level. There was like a race where we were on like the flower propellers where we're flying through like different caves and tunnels and stuff. It was fun. It was every time we played it, me and my group were laughing. People were like coming over to watch us because we were getting all into it. There was one I really liked that I believe was called Donut Derby or Donut something where it's co-op. It's two players are just characters trying to go through a Mario level, and then two players are not characters, but they use the Joy-Con's mouse to draw like donut blocks on a level for them. So like the level has like big open gaps where like you can't jump from point A to point B, but the camera's always scrolling. It doesn't stop. So then I was one of the people that had to draw. I'm using the mouse to like draw donuts like on the screen from the jump on, and then you know how donut blocks work. You jump on them, they shake, and then they disappear. So I had like two other like journalists who were jumping around, and I'm like, no, go, 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 go up, and we're making the donuts for them. It gets chaotic to the point where we're just like scribbling on the screen. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm just like gonna draw a bunch of like straight lines. You guys could just find the right ones. And then there are of course obstacles like a cannonball or like a log would come rolling down, and I've got to like stop it or like make it go out of their path. That one was really fun.
What's really interesting about that specific mode or that specific game you're talking about, Diamond, David, that's from New Super Mario Bros. U on the Wii U. That you were able to do that with the stylus as a second player. It was this weird asymmetric thing that they did in that game, Donovan. So it's like it feels like I don't know. I know like people got tired of New Super Mario Bros. At some point, but like I found New Super Mario Bros. U to be extremely charming at the time, and it sounds like they're bringing some of that. Like when I saw the overview trailer, I was like, oh, this is kind of like New Super Mario Bros. Here's a question: like, were you playing all on the same screen?
We did both. So the first couple games we played all on the same screen, 4 players, and then they broke us off into like 4 different stations next to each other.
Okay, but you were like technically playing online.
No, it was LAN.
It was local.
So when I went to my own individual station, there was like I went to the screen to join. It was like wireless or online, and I went to wireless, and I was like, nothing's popping up, and they were like, oh, press these buttons at the same time, and then it popped up with like LAN as a third option. So there's some.
That's that hidden LAN menu that they have in some of their games.
Yeah.
Like they have it in Mario Kart World. They have it in Mario. Okay, huh. That's interesting, but there was an online select for it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, there was online and then local wireless.
I asked this because like we're gonna want to stream this too, and you know, like I'm gonna want we're gonna want to defeat you, Dom, and like you're gonna have to be
right.
We're gonna have to ruin your day. David's extreme. David loves 2D Mario, so like I'm curious. Yeah, I can see like us 3 and maybe like get Steve Tendo in on it. Like that could be, that could be pretty hectic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that because like it's that's interesting that they showed you both though. They were like, here's LAN on your own Switch, and then here's it like together. Because like that's kind of been this whole thing about the Switch 2 is like playing together, even if you're apart, right?
Yes.
So I think that's like an interesting aspect of this, you know, and like the original Mario Wonder, it had that like asynchronous multiplayer, David, where I would like see your ghost on a level or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is interesting. Have they said how much this costs yet? Like the update?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think they have. Maybe it's available for pre-order. But they didn't mention it to us during our demo time. I also want to call out, before I forget it, there was a mini game called Lookout Bob-omb. And this was another like competition one where all 4 of us are going through a level, standard Mario Bros. Level, but there was a Bob-omb that we had to carry to the finish line. And the gimmick with this one was that the Bob-omb's fuse was ticking down, and to stop it, a specific character had to be carrying the Bob-omb. So like it would light up and be like Luigi, and I think even like the Wonder Flower would be like Luigi, and then we'd have to like throw it to whoever was playing Luigi, and they'd catch it. But like any second that the Bob-omb wasn't in Luigi's hand, whether it be in the air or being held by another player, the fuse was ticking down. There was like a timer in the corner of the screen that was like 7, 6, 5, 4.
Okay, it's like hot potato, but with a bomb.
Yes, hop into the Bob-omb, but it got super stressful by the end of the level where we could like see the flag and there's like 1.4 seconds left, and we're like, at this point, it's got to be a direct handoff. We can't afford for this to last more than like
I love
half a
this.
second.
Yeah, that's
that
cool.
one was really fun.
That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. I did find the price. It's $20 to upgrade.
Well, there you go.
If you already have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which I believe was a $60 game. So this would be $20 additional dollars. And this is only going to be on Switch 2, right?
Yeah, specifically Switch 2 edition plus Meetup in Bellabel Park.
It's kind of like what we saw with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is just the latest very long title of a game.
Yeah. They're leaning into it.
Yeah, I guess, you know what, I'm going to count how many characters it is just because I'm a nerd.
I think it was 74 because I had the red headline with it in there.
That's maybe? If you... It's actually 80. If you... Oh, sorry. I'm including the trademark. It is... So if you actually spell it out the way they have it spelled out on their store, it's Super Mario Bros. Trademark Wonder, Nintendo Switch Trademark 2 Edition, plus Meetup at Bellabel Park Upgrade Pack. That's 90...
Oh, yeah, Upgrade Pack's going to take you over.
Yeah, that's 93 characters. Nintendo, take a seat. Nintendo Ninja, we know you're watching. Come on. Stop. Get some help. This is ridiculous.
This is like, they're being intentionally silly with this one. Like, this isn't like that's just like how long the game title came out. They're leading into it to some degree with this one.
Yeah, they have to be.
This is just absurd at this point.
That upgrade pack the DLC never needed to be called Meetup in Bellabel Park. That alone was like, it could have been called Super Mario Bros. 2 Bellabel or Bellabel Park. They're having fun with it. Why? I don't know. But
do you think we'll get where do you think this series goes from here, David? Like, are we getting another Wonder, or what would happen?
I could see them doing another Wonder, although again, most of the time, each time there's a new console, we get a new Mario game. So I feel like this update for Wonder will be it for the Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I think there'll be another 2D Mario, and it could be Mario Wonder 2, but I would put money on it being a new, a new subtitle. You know,
like another thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll be either, because this. I think this is kind of like what happened with Animal Crossing just recently, right? Where we got that Switch 2 edition, and it's that's a lot of content. This is a lot of content, and you didn't even get to you didn't even see the single player stuff yet, Donovan, right? So, so it seems like a lot of the stuff you saw from Nintendo first party was multiplayer focused for these two games, right?
Yeah, there was a multiplayer focus on the stuff.
But you also, I don't know, is there anything else you wanted to add about Mario Wonder? That bomb mode sounds really fun.
It does.
That was the one that our reactions to it got other people to walk over and stand behind the couch and watch our game. That one was really fun. That one, nothing else to really say. It felt like we only scratched the surface. Obviously it was very guided, so they were like, hey, go here, pick this mode. But every time we opened a menu, there was a list of mini games, and there were different versions of them. I kept seeing the same names repeated. So I think there were some sort of modifications to them, but it seemed like a hefty chunk of content.
I'm sure you were playing some sort of vertical slice with limitations on it. Too. Interesting. So you got to play Resident Evil Requiem, Dom, and I'm sure David's a little jealous.
Yeah.
Capcom had a decent showing there. Yes, they had they had a section for it, and then they had little posters for RE Requiem and Pragmata, which I also played. TJ previewed RE Requiem on Switch at TGS last year, and he
Switch 2,
yes, how well it performed in handheld, and I echoes those thoughts. I played it in TV mode and handheld mode, and that game it looks great. Again, the best compliment I can give a Switch port is that in a vacuum, I wouldn't be able to tell you that this was like the Switch version of the game. It just looked right on par with what we've seen elsewhere. Obviously, my first time playing the game at all. I haven't played any other events, so that was fun. The section I played specifically was as Grace Ashcroft. She had just woken up like tied to some tables like upside down, and then I was walking through dark hallways. Very scary, as you know these Resident Evil games are. I've joked about it on content before. I was like, I loved RE2, and then I played Seven in Village and was super scared because they're first person. Toggled between the modes, first and third person, which is more seamless than I thought. Like you pause it and you go to the menu and you just flip it. And when you unpause, you're just in whatever perspective you change to. You don't have to like reload or go to a checkpoint.
Did you get to try out the Requiem pistol?
No, no, I didn't. I didn't get to try out the Requiem pistol. I did hold the Requiem controller too, though. Yeah, I looked out and realized that's what they had there.
How was it?
It was great. It's got a lot of words on it. It looks like a Pro controller.
It's still a Pro controller. I think that thing sold out.
Probably. It probably did. So did the Virtual Boy, to tease a future preview.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, it was fun though, and I think something that'll probably a benefit to Requiem is that these games are slow paced. At least if you play them, I guess like a normal person, they're slow paced. So I don't know if it was like locked at 30 or 6, probably 30 if I had to guess, but it felt good. It ran into clip cutscenes, no droppage. It was kind of a marvel to see it in handheld.
I wonder how Leon's parts will play because those are supposed to be more action oriented.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
You say you played as Grace?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
My entire time was at the Grace. I didn't like get to an end of it. I had to stop and go play something else. So I don't know if there was Leon stuff there, but I was just Grace. I was solving some puzzles. A lot of like, or at least in the area I was in, a lot of like lighting based puzzles. I walked into like a kitchen and the lights flickered and then it was just pitch black and I was like, come on. And I started walking and she did a thing where she like put her hand out like you do when you're in the dark and it was just a black screen, just like her hand, like on the camera. I was like, this is so bad. Yeah, but classic puzzle.
Bad as in not good or bad as in terrifying?
Oh no, bad as in I was just scared. Bad as in I was
Okay.
freaked out thinking something was going to jump out at me. But no, the game played very well. I'm excited for the full thing.
Nice. Yeah. There are now some devs that we can say like, hey, if Capcom's porting a game over to Switch 2, it's going to be good. I think
them is Square Enix, yeah. At the top of that,
like Street Fighter 6, I think is one of the best ports on the Switch 2. And that had to be good. If it wasn't, people would be crapping all over it. And then you got to try out Pragmata, which is not a Mega Man game.
No, it's not. I think they even tweeted that they're like, you can stop calling this a Mega Man game now. Also, my first time playing that, very fun. Obviously, more action intense game. I like how they use. I'm forgetting her name. I just had it in my mind. The little robot girl that accompanies you, where it's almost like a two characters at once situation where you're running around as the dude with the like spacesuit on and you're shooting stuff. But then since she's a robot, she has like these hacking powers. So like I'll be shooting at an enemy with like the face buttons, but then simultaneously like I'm using like the air or the directional pad, I think, to put in like hacks on like the same enemy to damage it. Like a little screen will pop up as I'm shooting it where it's like a grid of like 9 squares and there'll be like the end spot at the bottom right corner and I'll start at the top left and maybe there's like things blocking my path and I just have to like use the directional buttons to like move the square down to the green one and then when I do it the hack like executes and the enemy will like take damage. I was doing that by like while shooting with like the other buttons and that felt to me this is a cool comparison, might be underwhelming to other people. It felt like Watch Dogs in a way where it's like you are kind of balancing like I've got this cool like gadget where I can hack and make things like fly around on screen, but also I've got a gun and I'm just shooting everything in front of me.
Her name is Diana.
Diana, there you go. Yeah. Yep.
She also has some random numbers that you could call her by. But that's cool. You didn't have that long with the game, right? It was a pretty short demo.
No, yeah, that one. Both of these I kind of played in between the actual like scheduled appointments for the bigger first party stuff there, but it was fun. Obviously, fast paced game, bit more action intense, so it was a little bit more clear that it was like a Switch 2 version, but it looked really good. And I played it in handheld, and again, just performance.
So I'm kind of curious. Were there Capcom like representatives there, or was this a Nintendo event where there happened to be Capcom games?
It was just Nintendo.
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
That's interesting.
All Nintendo people. Yeah.
Like they're just like, hey, we're gonna be doing this thing. Why don't we just put Resident Evil there too? Well, yeah, it's just kind of interesting because, like you said, we've had like other in-depth preview. Like Ozzy Mejia's played Resident Evil Requiem recently. TJ played it last year. Those were like Capcom appointments proper. I think Nintendo's. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, David.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think I agree with you. Like their point, I think the point of having it there is because every preview of it so far has been glowing. We've even called it a showpiece for the Switch too, so it makes sense. Probably for the same reason they had Street Fighter 6 there. They know that this game looks good, plays well, and it just shows off the Switch 2 so that they can also tacitly say, hey, this isn't just first-party stuff that looks and runs great. We have third-party representation here as well.
And it's cool because these are games that are coming out day and date with the other systems, right? So they're they're incentivized to be like, hey, they're trying to get rid of that stigma that, oh, it's a Switch version of the game, right? Like, it's like, no.
Or like this game came out 3 years ago, who cares now sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, where like this game comes out April 24th, 2026 on all these systems, including the Switch 2. That I'm talking about Pragmata. And yeah, RE9, sorry, I keep calling it that and I can't stop.
I'm always going to call it RE9. That's what it is.
Requiem is coming out day and date with all the other systems, and we're getting 8 and 7. And there's rumors, David, that we're going to get 2 and 3 and 4. Which
I will buy them for a third time, I guess.
I will too. Because like I need to complete my all bear trap run of RE4. But yeah, I just it's cool that like it's no longer now there are still some really shitty ports on the Switch too. But there are now examples of, you know, Dom, you were talking about Final Fantasy VII last episode. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is great on the Switch too. We talked about Street Fighter 6 last year being one of those games that was at the April event, David, like when they revealed the whole thing. Yeah. Like it ran great. Cyberpunk, like there are now these, you can point to different games, and Cyberpunk's like that kind of game that you were talking about the David, where it's like, yeah, it runs great, but it's 5 years old, right?
Right.
This is like day and date with these other systems, and it runs great, and that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of encouraging,
so you played Virtual Boy.
I did, which had a lot of floor space. There was a big poster for it on the wall, and they had like lined up there were like 4 or 5 stations where you could sit down at a little booth.
You talk about trolling, David. On that big ass poster, underneath Virtual Boy, it says Nintendo Classics.
Come on.
In what universe is the Virtual Boy a Nintendo Classic?
That's like how WWE fans call everyone who's been there for at least 5 years a legend. Like, that's not what legend means. Words have meaning, damn it.
Like, you talking about the name of Bellabel Park being a troll? This whole thing, this whole thing is a troll. Yeah. This entire thing is a troll. This is a $100 accessory. It turns the Switch 2 into a stereoscopic device. Okay, tell us what you played. I need to know.
Yeah. The thing, Donovan, is Asif and I are reliving a trauma. You're experiencing this for the first time. Yeah. So how was it?
Yeah. I'd never played or probably even seen one of these things in person before. I had only heard the fables. Yeah, I played Wario Land Virtual Boy edition, which was kind of neat because I've never played Wario Land, but it did a thing where, like, because the Virtual Boy, of course, does like the 3D perspective thing where I'd be on a level and there'd be like an item, I think, that when I hit it, it would send me to like the background of the level, and then I'd still be running, but there's like a stage in the background, and like the level in the foreground would still be present, but I wasn't there anymore, and then I'd like finish a sequence and then jump back. That was cool. I did Tetris. I don't know what the fuck that was all about.
That's the worst Tetris. It's by far the worst Tetris ever made.
Ooh.
I couldn't tell what I was doing because
awful.
You can move the camera, but it's slow and the pieces. They all look like the same thing because they're going down. You're looking down the rectangle. It was weird. But Tetris was there.
It was there.
Tetris was there.
That's the box quote.
Yeah.
Donovan Erskine, Shacknews. Tetris was there.
And then there was one of the racing flying games. They didn't have Zero Races. I tried to find that one. That wasn't on there.
You tried the bastardized version of Star Fox that was there.
That might have been what it was, which I played very briefly. The setup itself, though, it wasn't bad. Like, so, it's on a desk. So you sit at the desk, you put the thing on, and then you hold, like, the controller, like, around, like, elbows on the table. That felt fine enough. I just didn't like the red and black. It felt like you know what it felt like? When you go to the eye doctor and they, like, put the thing over, and they're just like, keep your eye open, and they just make you stare at the weird colors and lines. That's what it felt like.
Nothing better than invoking Clockwork Orange and an eye doctor appointment when you're playing video games. It felt like kind of torture, but also like I was at a doctor's appointment. Yeah, that's who doesn't want that? Give me.
Woo.
How is this thing selling out? What is wrong with you people? Don't encourage Nintendo. This is the Nintendo that should not be encouraged.
Here's what I want to figure out, because they have two SKUs, right? They have like the $99, the more expensive like actual Virtual Boy thing. Does it have a screen? I couldn't tell if I was looking at a Switch display.
No, that's a Switch display that you just slide into it. Yeah.
Well, that was well done. I couldn't tell. I was looking at it and I had a moment in my mind. I was like, does this thing have like lenses like in a screen?
No.
I'm just looking at a Switch.
No, they wouldn't. They would never do that.
Yeah, but part of me wanted to like pop the Switch out and look at it like outside of the thing because I couldn't,
I would love to just play these games in flat screen. Like, please, just give us a flat screen version of this, and I actually might give a shit.
I would love to not play these games at all.
Just as from the pure for science perspective, David, like I have to play Zero Racers. I have to.
For science.
I'm like, if by some miracle they give us a review unit for this, I'll take it. Because like I need to see Zero Racers. Like I just need to see it. I need to play it, and then I will put it on my shelf with Rob the Robot and a bunch of other stuff that's collecting dust. But like, did you have a headache afterwards? Did you have a splitting headache afterwards?
No, I felt fine. That said, I played for maybe 10 minutes. So,
because David, you tried Virtual Boy back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
It was like instant headache.
The problem was like I didn't even get far enough to get a headache because I was sitting like this and it was just uncomfortable.
Ergonomics were horrible.
The ergonomics were horrible. You couldn't find a place to I couldn't find a place to set it to get at eye level unless you want to do like the stack of books thing people used to do back then for their monitors, right?
We definitely did a stack of books thing at my friend's house to play it because it was like, it was ridiculously small for what it was trying to do. And it was just like, like Nintendo, I guess they were just so far ahead that like they didn't think to make a head-mounted display, right? And then even today, like when they could have, like that other one, Donovan, the cheaper cardboard option, it's still not a head-mounted display. Did you try that one?
No, they didn't have that one. It was only the...
Because that one you have to hold it to your face. That one is like you slide the Joy-Con in, David, and your Joy-Con are on either side of your temple while you hold this thing to your face.
So you're doing this?
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing that.
How is that ergonomic?
So, Donovan, did you use a Pro controller for this, or
it was?
Did they have the Virtual Boy controllers? I don't know if they're releasing those.
It was either a Pro controller or it might have just been the Joy-Cons on a grip.
Okay,
might have been what it was.
The setup that you took footage of showed a Pro controller sitting there.
That's what I used then. Yeah.
I did not see the Virtual Boy controller, David.
Those original controllers were funky as hell. Like people thought the GameCube controller was weird. The Virtual Boy controller is out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Oz is pulling up a picture now.
I'm trying to look at the actual listing of it to see if it comes with the controller. No, the way that they're showing it in this.
Not have this there. No.
Actually, I shouldn't. This is not just for Switch 2. This is for Switch 1 and 2.
I thought it was. Oh, well, share the fun, I guess.
GameCube is the one outlier that's only on Switch 2.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And then, hey, if you wait, you could change the color, Donovan.
Of what? Like the red?
Yeah.
Inside
You can change it to yellow or blue.
I mean, anything other than infrared would probably be better.
Anything. But they needed like 6 more months to ship that feature. That's not ready yet.
That's funny. I mean, I think you already laid out the ideal use case for this thing. For anybody who would buy it, is you buy it, you set it up once, you play it, you're like, this stuff was never great, and then it just looks cool on your shelf, and you could be a historian and have, the thing that came out many years ago.
So you played how many games on it?
3 I bounced between. They had more. There was probably like 7 or 8 games total there, but I wasn't at that station long.
And they have the audacity to like drip drop this. You played Red Alarm. Is that right?
I think that is correct.
That was the Star Fox like. So you played VR Tetris, which is dog water. You played Virtual Boy Wario Land, which was, an interesting attempt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the best of the bunch.
And then
Another box quote. Okay.
an interesting attempt. Asif Khan, Shacknews. David, I can't wait to not play any of these. Box quote. So yeah. Would you buy this for $99?
No.
Would you recommend this to anyone?
Only if you were a Nintendo historian and you're somebody that owns every console they've made.
Okay.
That's the only that's the best, like I said, the best use case I can come up with for it is you just want to collect all the things, which that's not my era of Nintendo stuff. This had already flopped by the time I was playing.
I have had I don't know, hundreds. Don, when were you born? 98?
98.
This thing came out 3 years before Donovan was born.
Yeah.
David and I were teenagers.
Died 3 years before Donovan was born.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. David and I were teenagers when this came out. It was like peak Game Boy hype.
This was supposed to be the successor to the Game Boy.
Yeah, this was peak Game Boy hype. And like Game Boy hype was crazy in the mid 90s, right? So like the hype going into this product, Donovan, was so high. Imagine how deflating it was for that to be the hype and then that to be the experience. Like that's why David and I feel like particularly a certain kind of way about this, where we're like, Nintendo cannot be encouraged here. Like this is, we should not allow them to get away with this.
I get it.
And it's like, but I think it's similar to that Fire Emblem we talked about, that Fire Emblem game on the GameCube app. They're seeing the used prices of Virtual Boy. And that's what I was going to say. David, we've had so many opportunities as individual collectors and historians of games and fans of Nintendo. We've had hundreds of opportunities to buy the Virtual Boy over the years. I could have bought it for $50 at one point. Now it's selling for like $750 in Japan at Super Potato, $400. It sells for more than like Oculus or MetaQuest 3S. Like you can get like a real VR headset, like a real one, for less than the collectible version of the Virtual Boy in box. Like I think even the exchange has had it from time to time, Dave, and they've sold it from $400 to $800 depending on the quality. Never once have I even considered buying this thing. So, yeah, like I said, if by some miracle they offer us a review unit, I will review it. And that'll be it. And then like I'll bring it to the office and David will just be like, no. David will just like nod, like just shake his head and be like, no, I'm not, no.
No.
Just no.
No.
I'll be like, but like, what if I told you could play it in yellow, David? Huh?
I played in blue. Blue's my favorite color, and I still won't touch that.
Blue? You want to play blue?
No, I do not.
Yeah, Zero
But Donovan got
racers.
to experience it, so he knows what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But you don't have the context of just how disappointing it was.
No.
Like that's
Yeah.
I went into it knowing what it was going to be. Yeah.
that's why I had to paint that picture for him, David. Like it was.
Yeah.
Like they're coming off of NES, like
Super NES.
Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Virtual Boy. Like when Nintendo face plants, boy, do they face plant. So you did get to see a couple other things. Sorry, go ahead, Donovan.
I think we're about to go to the same place because I just wanted to make sure I mentioned the flower from Super Mario Bros. Wonder. They had multiple of them there, and they actually stopped us at the end of our demo, or maybe it was before the demo. They talked to us about the flower. This thing does way more than I thought it did.
Yeah.
So they're selling like the physical flower that you could have, and just to run down some of the things it does. One, it's battery powered, right? So it will just talk on its own randomly throughout the day. They were like, hey, if you just keep it like on like a nightstand or like a table in your living room or hallway, it'll just randomly speak. It'll like throughout the day, every now and then, it'll just remark about random things. You can ask it about the weather, or maybe it'll just talk about the weather. It'll just be like, oh, sunny day today. It'll talk about the temperature, I think they said. It has like special dialogue do like the time of day, like when it gets dark, it'll be like, oh, nighty night, time to go to sleep. And then they made a point of mentioning that like it won't talk through the night, like it won't keep you up. It won't, because as they're going through this in my head, I'm like, this thing is gonna talk at 3 a.m. and like one, wake people up, and two, scare the shit out of any child in the house. But they were made a point. They were like, it won't speak like through the night. And I think you can maybe even customize the times.
Yeah, you can.
It has a button that if you want it to talk, like right now, you just tap the button. And I had a video where I did that a few times. I didn't do it. They said if you press it a lot, it'll do something weird or say something unique if you like spam the button. So I guess, I don't know, it's probably just like, hey, leave me alone or whatever. Yeah, it's the talking flap from Mario. Whatever.
So now this is the yin and yang of weird Nintendo, right? Back to back, right? I don't like Virtual Boy. I fucking love this idea. This is exactly the weird Nintendo I love. And it's only $35, so it was an instant buy for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sold. We're already planning to have, we're going to give the Wonder Flower its own camera on this podcast. It's going to be the third co-host when I get this thing. I don't know how long it will last as our third co-host, but I will dedicate a separate webcam and camera and microphone for it on the podcast. Because it's just that's the kind of weird Nintendo I like, and it feels like an evolution of Alarmo, kind of, Donovan, where it's like
it does. It
you know,
Alarmo.
at least it doesn't require Nintendo Switch Online, which so many things do now at Nintendo. Like this is just you pay the $35, you get a talking flower. That's cool. And then you also saw some Amiibo, right? You got the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Amiibo. The Poplins, Elephant Mario, and was that what Toad was that?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember which Toad there was. I was gonna call out the Pragmata ones. There was
that's
Diana Amiibo, which was really cool to speak to that partnership again. I wish they had the Resident Evil Amiibo.
Yeah,
that wasn't there, but they had Diana from Pragmata.
They're being very precious with the Resident Evil Amiibo. Like, we have not seen those anywhere yet, really.
That's like a combination of like a deeply beloved and like obsessed over IP, and then Amiibo, which is a collector's item on its own that can be hard to track down. That they're like, it's a security risk to put this thing in a display case in New York City.
Yeah. Like the original Amiibo, Donovan, they had like a guy with a briefcase and like a handcuffs at E3. Like the original Mario Amiibo, like the one with the fireball that Reggie showed off at E3. Like, they hold these things, like, in very high regard. I just think it's great to see Capcom and Nintendo playing together. Like, we said it last week with Square Enix and Nintendo, but, like, Capcom and Nintendo with this relationship now, I think it's great. I think it's good for everybody.
Yeah. I think that was a big part of the event too. Like I know we joke about the newspaper design on the Resident Evil controller, but like it wasn't an accident that they had those at the stations, right? And you know the posters with the Switch logo over Resident Evil Requiem, and then the Pragmata Amiibo and stuff. Like, it's cool.
I won't be playing Requiem on Switch 2, although I am interested in how it runs and how it looks. I'll be playing on PC, but like just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, Asif, I've always associated Capcom with Nintendo. Like ever since I was a kid and playing Mega Man games.
Yeah.
Like some really cool stuff has always come from that relationship, and yeah, I'm glad to see it blossoming too.
I agree, and like, I mean, we saw it with Smash Brothers. Like, how cool was that when we had like Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Mega Man all together? Like, that was a huge moment for gaming. So like, I think it's cool when these companies play nice together. And yeah, NES to me, David, like Mega Man 2 is one of the best NES games ever. And I just so many hours because I sucked at those games when I was young. Like they were hard as fuck too. But like Capcom, you think about like Street Fighter 2 on the SNES, like all the different versions there. RE4 on the GameCube. Like there've been these huge moments where
Capcom 5.
Yeah. Where like Capcom and Nintendo have like come together and done like amazing stuff. And I feel like that I know Monster Hunter Wilds is like horribly optimized, or at least it was, but it's getting better.
Right.
There's hope that Monster Hunter Wilds may come to Switch too. And I think like there's a path. I know they're working on Monster Hunter Stories 3 and all that stuff, but like it's gonna be interesting. Man, that sounds like it was a pretty fun event though, Donovan.
It was cool to have like an all-encompassing sort of preview thing, right? Because obviously we joked I go to New York a lot. A lot of it is for Nintendo events. Typically, it's like one game or one thing. It was cool to just have like, you know, here's our upcoming slate and zip around and try all this.
Yeah, like last year you went to like a Pokemon Legends ZA preview event, or you went to like the Donkey Kong Bonanza preview event. I went to the Mario Kart World one with Steve. And then obviously I went to the April event where I got to sit next to Doug Bowser and Furukawa-san as we all watched the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
But like, and then I got to try all those games out. That was a hell of an event. Yeah, it's always cool when we get invited to stuff like that. We appreciate you, the Nintendo Ninja out there watching us right now. But yeah, like, enough with this Virtual Boy. We want DS games.
Yeah.
Put the DS games in the box, damn it. Which is honestly a perfect segue to the next topic. Nintendo reported financial results for their holiday quarter, which is technically the third quarter of their fiscal year ending in 2026, so FY26. You guys hear about this Nintendo Switch hardware? Not the Switch 2. I know this is This Week in Switch 2, but I got some news about the first Nintendo Switch. It has sold 155.37 million units since launching in 2017. That makes it the best-selling Nintendo device of all time, outselling the Nintendo DS, which I was just talking about, which sold 154.02 million units in its illustrious life. So yeah, Switch is the sales GOAT at the very least. A couple other data points. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 70 million units.
My God.
That's a Wii U port. Whoever decided to port that over to the Switch will go down as the most brilliant person in the history of Nintendo.
They should never have to pay for another meal in Japan. It's just crazy the success that game has had. It's nuts.
It's a wonderful game. I love the updates. I think the booster course pass was delightful. We've ranked all 96 tracks. I recommend people go watch that video where we count them down, but also go watch our streams where we're agonizing through these ridiculous lists that we made. So yeah, that's one data point. Thought that was kind of neat. You guys remember all those rumors about how the Switch 2 had a bad holiday? Did you guys remember hearing about that?
I've seen an article or two.
Maybe a podcast from James Business. But yeah, I think, wasn't that his name? James Business? Yeah. Anyway.
Is that a real person? Okay.
Is that his name? Someone commented, let me know. I don't have time to listen to all these podcasts from jaboofers in England who don't actually list their sources and just pontificate on bullshit without actually providing any evidence and then being refuted by Circana just a week later. Anyway, the actual news is that Nintendo Switch 2 during the quarter sold over 7 million units to now get to total sales of 17.37 million units.
In 7 months.
Yeah, in 209 days to be specific.
Yep.
So for the folks counting at home, all you jaboofers on YouTube with your poggers face and your thumbs down and the sad Mario thumbnails, calling this the Wii U, it has outsold the lifetime sales of the Wii U in 209 days. So please, shut the fuck up. Thank you. Now I'll get off of my soapbox. The sell-through, which is an estimated number of how many units have been purchased, right? Because Nintendo sells the devices to retailers, and then retailers sell them to consumers, right? Nintendo estimates the sell-through to be above 15 million units in that same time period. That is the fastest-selling video game console in Nintendo history, ahead of the Nintendo Switch, and ahead of the Wii, ahead of the DS, but also it's the fastest-selling video game console of all time in the industry's history. So, yeah, it had this very fast pace the first quarter, right? That first month it sold, 3.5 million units? The first 4 months it sold like 10 million units. Now in the first 209 days, which is like essentially 9 months, it has sold 15 million units through. 17.37 million units are out there in the world now. That seems pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems pretty good to me. To call this a failure seems wrong? It's not even hyperbole, David. It's just wrong. No. It's like, and it's not just WRONG. It's RONG wrong. Like that's how wrong it is. Like I like calling it RONG wrong because it's even spelling wrong. That's how wrong it is. It's like wrong squared. So once again, to the jaboofers of YouTube, just shut the fuck up. Like, go find something else to complain about. I don't know, High Guard. Anyway, Donovan, as our resident Pokemaster, Pokemon Legends ZA, which I think all three of us ended up loving, sold 12.3 million units since launch. This is like, Donovan, they claim it's a mainline game, but you as a Pokemon purist do not really view it as a mainline game, right?
No, I don't.
12.3 million units for not a generational game seems like a lot for one quarter.
Yeah, huge. Which, to their credit, I mean, I know I make the joke where I'm like, they call Legends a mainline. It's not mainline. The reality is, it doesn't matter because people love these games. Legends is like officially now like its own brand, its own series of Pokemon games, right? It is where you go for like Pokemon games that are fun, but more importantly, unlike the Gen 8, Gen 9, and presumably soon to be the Gen 10 games. Like, you get these weird mechanics, you get this experimentation that's kind of like a marriage of previous generations. We're in the Kalos region, Lumio City, but there's Pokemon from Unova here and Hoenn and different regions and stuff. Yeah, it's cool to see it doing well. I saw that a good chunk, which this made sense, were sold on the Switch 1.
Yeah, I can give you the exact breakdown here, Donovan. It was 8.41 million units were sold on the original Switch, and then 3.89 million units were sold on the Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
I mean, I look at this and there's just one thought that like looms over my mind, and that is that Generation 10 is coming, and it is probably going to just unleash hell on sales records, even by Pokemon standards, I think, this fall. They haven't even announced it yet, and I'm like, investing everything I can into those two games and what they're going to sell. They're going to be huge because I think, one, it's just Pokemon who's going to do well anyway. We've talked about it on the show, but seeing these figures, those games have to be straddled release. It has to be Switch 1 and Switch 2. I don't think you can look at the sales pie chart for Legends EA and think that they won't put the Generation 10, the next big tentpole, the next Red, Blue, Scarlet, Violet. I think that won't be on Switch 1 at this point. I feel like they have to do it. And then even to anecdotally, you guys kind of getting back into Pokemon now. I think a lot more people are going to be on board for Gen 10. That's gonna be a big one.
I'm of two thoughts here, Donovan, because you're right. Unit sales are impressive because it's on the Switch, and you have 155 million units of Switch out there in the universe. But you could argue that something as big as Gen 10 could be a system seller.
That's true. It would be the system seller to end all system sellers, and I guess presume this arrives in like November, October, the earliest. That's
and just to add more speculative fuel to the fire, but something that I disclose as speculation, not as fact. What if they actually made a special edition Switch 2 for the Pokemon 30th anniversary, and they bundled it with this game? Wouldn't that be something that people would want to buy?
That'd be pretty cool. I would want to buy it, and I have a base Switch too. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's something that like collectors who even were early adopters, I think, would kind of fall over to buy. And I was thinking about the 40th anniversary of Zelda 2, David. Like, doesn't this seem like the kind of year that, okay, we don't have a new Zelda game, but here's a Zelda special edition Switch?
Yeah, I mean, I bought the Tears of the Kingdom Switch OLED just because it was Zelda. Like, I have the Zelda Wii U, I have the Zelda new 3DS XL. I would definitely spring for that.
So, like, I feel like there's a couple levers Nintendo can pull here to increase demand for the Switch 2. But yeah, I'm of two thoughts there, because you're right, Donovan. On the one hand, they could sell just a metric shit ton of copies of Gen 10 if they straddle. But now it's also like, they already have an install base of 15 million Switch 2s, and probably going to be closer to 19 or 20 or 25 by the time Gen 10 comes out. What's to stop them from making it an exclusive? And also, like, making it, like, high-end, high fidelity, like, the best-looking Pokemon game ever.
That was going to be my point. I think what this decision will come down to is how ambitious are they with this game, right? You think 30th anniversary, the 10th generation, that this would be the one that they're finally try to like evolve the franchise visually, graphically, performance-wise, that like maybe this game gets revealed and it's Switch 2, not just to sell systems, but because it has to be on Switch 2, right? Because the Switch 1 couldn't run it, You look at like Donkey Kong Bonanza and how they were like, hey, we started development on this as a Switch game, and then, here's what the screenshots looked like back then, here's what they're like now. This game had to be a Switch 2 exclusive. I would love for that to be the case, for this game to get revealed in a few weeks on Pokemon Day, and they're like, it looks this good.
The reason why I think it's possible, though, Donovan, is that, like, we also are getting Pokemon Champions, and that's already been announced for Nintendo Switch. So it's like, and it's also on mobile. So it's like, that could be the lower end, it runs on everything Pokemon game that comes out this year, and that's also the one that they've said is going to be the focus of their competitive meta this year.
Yes.
So, like, I could see it be this, like, two-tier approach, where it's like, here's Pokemon Champions for everyone, and here's the Gen 10 game for the Switch 2. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. But I think you make a good point that how do you look at these numbers and think, let's not sell Pokemon for Switch? And also Game Freak being Game Freak and not having the most robust graphics in their games. That being said, like, I think the Switch 2 edition of Pokemon Legends EA is beautiful. For like what they did, and it's like the best looking Pokemon game they've ever had. What if? I guess we'll find out by the end of the month. My guess. We'll know.
Day is Friday, February 27th. There might need to be an emergency pod recording.
Yeah. I think
that's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, I think that justifies an emergency podcast to be held on Friday. Yeah, maybe get Greg in here as the resident grumbler about Pokemon, and maybe tag in Ozzy as well. We may have to have like an Octobox for that one, right? Like one of those those breaking news Octobox podcast recordings. We won't have the talking Wonder Flower by then, but yeah, I'd say that was a pretty good showing. by Pokemon Legends ZA. It didn't outsell Pokemon Legends Arceus in the same time period, so some people are saying it's a failure. But you'll remember, a lot of those jaboofers, the same ones I was talking about, Donovan, they thought the Pokemon wasn't going to sell well because it didn't have voice acting.
Yeah. It's, it's almost like it's easy to attach to negativity and pessimism.
It's like somewhere around $700 million in a quarter. I'm just saying. That seems like a lot. Anyway, on to the next one. We got a lot of sales data here because there was a lot of games came out in that quarter, the holiday quarter for this system. Kirby Air Riders, the head scratcher of the year, right? Like we were like, what? Why? Huh? No one asked for this. Well, apparently 1.76 million people asked for this. This game in 2 months, less than 2 months, outsold the lifetime sales of its predecessor for GameCube, Donovan. This is 1.76 million units sold in less than 2 months of Kirby Air Riders. Almost a million just in Japan.
The power of the Switch 2 new console excitement, but also maybe more importantly, just the cult of personality that is Masahiro Sakurai. I think at this point, major factor in this game doing well.
I think his 2 hour-long directs probably had something to do with this, but also just he pours his heart into his projects. Like,
yeah.
He's an amazing creative person, and like his games resonate with people. And like Kirby Air Riders is excellent. It had, like, we've talked about it extensively on this podcast. He had no business going that hard, but he did. And look what he got. This is the most wildly successful Kirby random game. Like, not a mainline Kirby game. This is like a Kirby offshoot. Like, to do this well in a year where Mario Kart World was on the same system. Like, and we'll get to that here in a second. I think it's just really impressive. I think it says something, guys. I think people like racing games. I think people like Nintendo racing games.
Here it comes.
And I think it's time for a new F-Zero game on the Nintendo Switch 2. High fidelity graphics, 120 frames per second performance mode, 60 frames per second, 4K as fuck. Come on. If this fucking game sells 1.76 million units, give F-Zero a fucking chance. There's never been a better time to give F-Zero a chance to show off your fucking hardware, to introduce a whole new generation to a franchise. Come on. It's time. It's beyond time. And for my next bit of evidence is why it's time to release another Nintendo racing game. Mario Kart World has sold 14 million units since launch. Everyone's like, oh, Nintendo Switch 2, David, it doesn't have a game. There's no first-party game to move hardware. What the fuck is 14 million units?
I never understood that statement. Like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just hit 70 million. A Mario Kart game launching with a Nintendo console at this point is guaranteed money. Guaranteed money.
And it sold well. Duh.
Yeah.
Water, wet. Sky, blue. Mario Kart sold well. Like, duh. I wasn't exactly ecstatic about it, as I'm not the biggest Mario Kart fan relative to other ones that maybe I was just screaming about. But I love this game. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Like, it's delightful. It's a fucking lovely game. It was one of my most played games over holiday break because my nieces in Japan loved the game and like wanted to play free roam with me and unlock all those outfits. And like, it's a game that so many different people can play. Like, you can play it with your family, you can play it online. Knockout Tour is really fun. It's a great game. And it was the perfect launch title. This was the perfect launch title. And everyone's like, yeah, they don't have a big game this year. What the fuck are you smoking? Like, 14 million units sold. If you look at the sell-through, it's like the attach rate's going to be insane for this.
I think unless something else comes along, which I don't know is possible. I think that this will be the biggest selling game on the Switch too.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. I don't know how you beat it at this point. It already has such a lead. And now it has this built-in user base. And now, like, they're going... Like, we've seen it. We were talking about last week. Nintendo is supporting their live service games. Like, yeah, they priced it at $80. Hey, remember all those think pieces about how no one was going to buy this game? You remember those same jaboofers on YouTube? You same dumb motherfuckers with your fucking... How many videos were posted? How many think pieces were written that were just fucking wrong? And, like, none of them are going to retcon what they said. None of them are going to admit that they were wrong.
Do you think a lot of these people know they're wrong, but they're just clickbaiting for the clicks?
They have to be at this point.
Yes.
They have to be.
The game. Yeah.
But it's like, how long can you keep digging this hole before you just look like a fucking idiot and I can come and dunk on you? Like,
Right.
14 million units. Is that enough? Do I need to come back next year when we're above 20 million units? Like, when do I need... how many units before you declare you might be wrong about this? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You guys are embarrassing. Speaking of embarrassing,
Uh-oh.
you remember that stupid console war commercial where they talked shit about my main cow in Mario Kart World? You fucking
That's what this is
Sega,
about. That's where this came from.
you motherfuckers had the nerve to call me out. And
This
my
is
love,
like that meme where Asif's like, and I took that personally.
I did take that personally. I love free roam. And I love Cal. How dare you, Sega? How dare you even sniff the farts of Mario Kart World? Sega announced only 1 million units sold of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. You thought you could fuck with the king? Kirby Air Riders outsold Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Kirby outsold your boy. And you had Minecraft Steve and Hatsune Miku and every jaboofer from every freaking Sega game you could throw in there. And it's a fun game. I actually like Sonic Racing Crossroads, but I'm just tired of this nonsense. This console war rhetoric. You had no business doing that. It kind of made sense when you had a console, but to revive console war rhetoric, when you don't even have a console anymore. You already lost the console war. It's very much that the Black Knight in Monty Python. It's just a flesh wound. You have no legs. Like, it's not a flesh wound, dude. And I'm not like, look, card-carrying member of Sega Twitter because of that weird intersection of F-Zero Twitter and Sonic Twitter. I'm not shitting on Sonic Racing. I actually liked the game. Dom and I streamed it. We had a good time playing it. It's actually a fun game. But you thought you really thought you could do this. You could do the Pepsi challenge with Mario Kart World. Like, come on. Ridiculous.
I mean, they were right that free roam's boring as fuck. That was true.
How dare you? I like free roam.
Shots fired.
I like free roam.
And
I like Cal, and you better not even say a word about Cal.
I got nothing to say about Cal. Cal is one of the less offensive members of that roster.
One of the less offensive? That implies that Cal is offensive.
On this podcast.
That implies that Cal is offensive. I take offense. I take great offense to this on behalf of all Cal mains, as the first Cal main and as the tribal chief of the Cal mains. How dare you, sir?
No, Cal's fun. I like Cal.
How dare you, sir?
Because Moo Moo Meadows and all that, that's good. But
anyway,
the rest of the bunch.
In conclusion, give me an F-Zero game for the love of God. That's all I want. It'll sell more than CrossWorlds. You want to shove some anime video game character, like you can just give us high-speed competitive racing game. And while we're at it, David, 1080 snowboarding, wave race, Diddy Kong Racing.
Diddy Kong.
Like, there's so many cool... Extreme G. Imagine if they made, like, an Extreme G.
Yeah.
Like, RC Pro-Am. Exactly. Rad Racer. Anyway. Mach Rider. pole position. I'm just going to keep yelling about racing games until the end of the podcast. But like, how can you look at this data and be like, oh, Nintendo should make less racing games? No, make more racing games. Like, people seem to like racing games. That's all I'm saying.
I think there's clearly a market for each of them. Like, I think there could be a market for F-Zero, for Kirby, and for Mario Kart World. Like, I think Nintendo knew Kirby would never come close to Mario Kart's numbers, but it doesn't have to. It has its own audience.
And it has a huge audience in Japan. 900,000 units of that 1.76 million were in Japan, David. And you know that like people were buying that with the console because the availability of the Switch 2 wasn't as prevalent in Japan until late in the holiday season, even into this year. So it's not all sunshine and farts here at Nintendo, or I don't know, farts, maybe a little bit of farts. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond did not make the million seller list on either the Switch or the Switch 2. So that means it may have sold a combined million units, but they don't do it that way. They break it into the platforms. So it didn't sell a million units on the Switch 2, and it didn't sell a million units on the Switch 1. Now, it's important to note, this is from December 4th to the 31st. It's not a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
No.
But that's not very good. For a game that was, like, anticipated for almost a decade, that's a disappointing part of this quarterly report, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have to say it's not too surprising. I think a lot of people knew what they were going to get with this, and I don't think it's a bad game at all. I just think it is another Metroid Prime, which I've kind of been saying that the whole time.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime has never been, like, historically one of the best-selling games. I think it sold really well on GameCube, but there wasn't a lot of competition for it on that platform.
And it was new.
And it was new.
It was like Nintendo made a first-person shooter, like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
And it was also graphically impressive at the time. The GameCube was cutting edge hardware. So it like I agree that like a lot of it felt old just from a framework of the game, but like I kind of skipped out on Metroid Prime 3 because I didn't like the Wii. We talked about it in a previous episode. So like it felt like almost 20 years between games for me, and I was like, well, this is delightful. I will say that like it, as you keep playing through it, it becomes apparent that like, yeah, this game was delayed for a reason. And like Retro and Nintendo have kind of talked about it, how they saw the success of Breath of the Wild and they were like, hey, what if we open worldified this? And it like never really came together perfectly. Still a great game. I think over the long arc of time, it'll sell 1 million units, but yeah, not a success.
I think 2D Metroid might be more popular than 3D Metroid. If we're just going off of like Dread sales numbers.
Yeah.
I think there's a bigger market for it. Whereas like Zelda, 2D or 3D, both types will sell well. I think Metroid fans want more 2D because they're still pining for that Super Metroid remake, and or they're just still pining for Super Metroid.
Hell, look at the success of a game like Hollow Knight, Silk Song.
Yeah.
Or, you know, think about all those side-scroller Metroid. Like, there's a fucking genre built around side-scrolling Metroid games. And Castlevania, obviously. But, like, Metroidvanias exist because people love 2D Metroid. I think you're right. I think that is a lesson to be taken here. But also, it was like, there was a sunk cost here. Like, Nintendo had to ship this game.
Yeah.
It was a promise that they had to keep. But, man, it's going to be a real long time before we see another Metroid Prime game. If this is how it launched, I don't know.
I think this could be the last Metroid Prime game, although I don't think it could be the last 3D Metroid. I've been saying from the beginning, like I was less interested in a Metroid Prime 4 than I was a new Metroid series, 3D or otherwise.
Yeah.
I would be interested in that because this one felt like it was confined by the Metroid Prime trappings. It couldn't venture too far from that. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that if you're making a sequel to a series, you are in part constrained by that.
Yeah, so the stock is down today. It's down, at the time of recording, it's down almost 4% on this news. A lot of people have been like talking about like, why is it down? It seems like they missed analyst expectations for their operating profit. And that was enough to make people kind of raise an eyebrow. It's important to note that they beat expectations on net profit, which is the actual bottom line number. They also missed expectations on revenue. People were expecting 847 billion yen. They came in at 806 billion yen. So the revenue number was light on the quarter. And then the operating profit was light. People are extrapolating this to mean, oh, their costs are higher than expected, right? It's a little bit of both. I said this early on. I think I said this on this podcast, maybe in the most recent quarter or the one before it, the launch quarter for the Switch 2. I think Nintendo is sacrificing near-term profits in the interest of getting as many Switch 2s out there as possible so that they can sell software, which is far higher margin than the hardware. You're talking like 40% to 80% margins, depending on if you're buying physical or digital software from them, versus like maybe 15% to 25% margins on the hardware. The other thing was a mix shift that happened this quarter. It appears that they sold a lot of units in Japan. And you guys know that they sell in Japan for less than they do in America, right? Because of the tariffs. So those are some things that I guess were negatives. And it's kind of a sell on the news thing. The other thing to note, and I kind of want to just kind of dovetail this into our conversation here, is that last week, Google showed a video of one of their AI platforms called Project Genie, where you can prompt an AI bot with a description of a world, David. And you can feed it images. You can give it a picture of one of your guinea pigs. And you can be like, I want to play an open world game with my guinea pig in Detroit. And it will make you an open world where you can play with your guinea pig scanned into the game for about 3 minutes. There's even some NPCs that you might be able to interact with. This caused the entire video game sector to crash. All the stocks. Unity stock is down over 30% since this video was dropped. Nintendo stock sold off. It's down about 10%. Take-Two Interactive's down over 10%. CD Projekt Red's down 10% on this news. Ubisoft's down just because Ubisoft is terrible. But, like, all the stocks are down on this news. But, like, a bunch of people came out and they're like, look, this is still a tech demo. Yes, it's a sign of maybe where things are going from here, but it's not a replacement for engines. It's also another theft shuttle. Like every generative AI thing we see, what did they do? Because the people who use generative AI, some of them are horribly unoriginal. Someone came up with a Breath of the Wild demo. Hey, recreate Breath of the Wild. And it's like
that. There was a Dark Souls one. There was people were just like, oh, my favorite franchise, one of those. You know, that's all people were doing.
Make Mario Kart, but in Genie. And then they show this Rainbow Road, and everyone's like, wow, look at these graphics. And then like they show how like you look, they go around the bend, and when they come back around, the cars in front of them are gone. The turn doesn't look the same. Like, it's still hallucinating. It's still AI, and it's still in its infancy. I think it's the height of idiocy to sell any of these stocks on this news specifically. And it's a question I've had with generative AI this whole time. How do you square this circle? You're stealing copywritten information to train these models, and you're going to monetize it in theory. How are you going to do this in a way that's actually financially viable? Like, yes, this is a cool tech demo. I'll definitely give him that. And I think that the tech is better used to help train machine learning on real world interaction, right? Like, create an open world that's like downtown Canton, David, and like have a robot learn how to walk through downtown Canton. And then maybe you could train like a delivery robot with that kind of technology. Like, I see other purposes for this beyond, well, this is going to disrupt the entire video game industry. And it's like, AI right now is so prone to hyperbole. everything's the next big thing in AI right now. And stonk go up, right? That's why I invented extreme intelligence here at Shacknews, so I can make stonk go up. But, like, I just think this is idiocy that you're selling these stocks. Like, do we really think that GTA 6 isn't going to sell because of a 3-minute tech demo from Google?
Of course not. No. I mean, these people, they don't know video games. That was my reaction. I think it's that simple. They don't know video games. They have no understanding of it at all.
It reminds me, Donovan, of the NFT bros who were like, that's going to revolutionize video games too. And now look at them.
Yeah.
They're left holding racist-ass monkey pictures that they bought for 6 figures that are worthless. You know? Now, I don't think it's going to be as bad as that, because that was, like, the height of idiocy. Like, I do think there is value to what Google is doing here. I think DeepMind is actually doing some interesting stuff. I mentioned it on Game Trader Live a couple episodes ago. Like, DeepMind had chemists that actually won a Nobel Prize for chemistry because AI was able to do protein folding calculations faster than humans. Like, these are advanced calculators in a lot of ways. And like, I'm all for that. If we can actually, like, get medical breakthroughs with AI, by all means. But this idea that we all need this for generative purposes is horseshit. And you've seen it with literature, David. You've seen it with how many Google, Facebook, OpenAI, Anthropic have all been brought into lawsuits over stealing written material from authors. It's like, we don't need this. And it's like, everyone keeps telling us, oh, generative AI is like the big thing. We were sold a bill of goods that we were going to get to some kind of superhuman intelligence. But right now, all I see is a parrot. A parrot that has a very large database of stuff that it's stolen from the internet, and it's able to regurgitate it back out at you. And unoriginal people are wowed by it. It's like, yeah, if you can't write a David Craddock long read, boy, go have AI steal one for you, and you can make yourself feel intelligent because your prompts were good at stealing David's shit. Or like, you know, if you can't draw, if you're a terrible designer, you can use Midjourney or Nano Banana Pro 3, and you can generate a thumbnail for your fucking bullshit Nintendo YouTube videos that actually look better than the shit that I would draw with stick figures. Like, we're working on some 30th anniversary stuff here at Shacknews, and like, I had to give Bill a concept. I was like, here's a concept of a logo I want to make. It looks like shit, but it gets my idea across. I didn't need to go to AI to do that.
There was a report recently that said that those who use AI more frequently are having their critical thinking impacted.
I bet.
Which makes a lot of sense, because you were getting to the point. It reminds me of when Wikipedia first came out, where instead of consulting like an encyclopedia, you just go to Wikipedia and be like, oh, what is this? And then with AI, you're doing the same thing. You're not creating something yourself. You have to think about what you want to get across to Bill when you're putting together these doodles, right? Like, you have to think about that. And I have to think about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it when I write a long read. I can't just go to AI and be like, hey, help me with this sentence. I do that myself. And that's part of the experience and part of the learning process as well.
Yeah. And also, AI is not going to be able to interview the people that you're interviewing to tell the stories that you tell. Like, it's just not there yet. It's able to steal your shit and regurgitate things that you already did. It's able to steal articles that you've written, Donovan, and regurgitate the facts that you put in there. But without the internet, without humans contributing facts to the internet, AI is worthless. It's constrained by the knowledge base of humanity still. It has not discovered anything. And that's super intelligence. That's the inventive mind of the human. That's the creative spirit of humanity that we have not seen recreated in any artificial intelligence. And there are incredibly talented people across game dev, be it programmers, artists, writers, creative directors. They're like insanely creative people in this industry. And to reduce them to a series of prompts, you'll never do that, because you are limited to what that model has already stolen. And there's always something else coming in our industry. Think about Ball Pit. Think about Skate Story. Would AI generate Skate Story without a person prompting it to do so? And it would need to have already stolen Skate and Tony Hawk and Doom, right? And like all like Dante's Inferno. It would have to have consumed all of that content to be able to even do it based on your prompts. But would it look as good as Skate Story? Would it have the actual humanity in that story? Like the actual feeling of like a human telling a story? No. This shit is soulless. And yeah, I just think it's a fool's errand to be. And this isn't just, hey, I talk my book. I own Nintendo stock. I don't own Take-Two. I think it's the height of idiocy to sell Take-Two stock in a year where they're supposed to launch GTA 6. Like, yeah, maybe they delay GTA 6. Fine, sell the stock for that reason. But like, if GTA 6 is coming out this year, Google Project Genie will have no impact on sales whatsoever. And it goes back to your point, Donovan. The people making these financial decisions don't know shit about video games, and that gives you an opportunity as an individual investor to take some risk from time to time. And boy, have I been staring at the Nintendo chart all day, because I think it's stupid to sell the stock here when it just sold 17 million units. Mario Kart World sold 14 million units. And they haven't said a damn thing about RAM prices impacting them. I want to wrap up our earnings story. Nintendo maintained their... Remember how they increased guidance last quarter? They maintained that target. They didn't change their profit target, their dividend expectation, their revenue target, or their unit sales target. None of those changed. So if RAM was going to impact them, wouldn't this have been the time to tell us?
I would think so.
But no, let's run a story about how RAM prices are overshadowing Nintendo's results. It's like they're overshadowing it because that's the narrative media wants to give it. I just listened to the Apple conference call. Donovan, you were on it. Tim Cook's like, yeah, we have 48% margins. And it doesn't look like that's going to go down next quarter. So like these big companies seem to have longer RAM contracts. The other thing is like, there's this whole dichotomy of like, there's an oversupply of Switches. I could go to Meijer and buy a Switch 2 right now, right? Well, if that's the case, they already built the damn thing. They're not knocking on Samsung door every time they have to sell us a Switch 2. Like they actually manage their inventory well here, you know? I think that people are they're sleeping on some of those things. But yeah, that'll wrap up our Nintendo earnings section of this show. It was long, but I think it's a lot of important topics. Obviously, this is This Week in Switch 2. It's the biggest story in Switch 2 outside of Donovan playing all those sweet games. Which, by the way, do you think those are the only games coming out this year for the Switch 2? Or is there a chance Nintendo might announce more games?
It might do one of those Nintendo Directs at some point.
Oh, by the way, there's a fucking Mario movie coming out this year. I'm sure no one will watch that, Donovan. I'm sure, whatever. Not a big deal at all. I have a couple of Animal Crossing updates, David. That bear of yours that you kicked off your island showed up on my island. I can't remember their name. Do you remember their name?
The green bear?
Yeah, the green bear.
Charlize, I think.
Charlize. So I see Charlize sitting on the riverbed outside of my Nook's Cranny, my newly relocated one. And they had like the cloud thing over their head. I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? So I talked to Charlize, and Charlize is like, hey, I came to this cool island, but I didn't realize I'm not going to be able to leave today. Like, is there a place for me to stay? So I had to take Charlize to the hotel. Have you done this yet? Have you encountered anyone where you took them to the hotel?
I did it once. You renovate a room for them, like a VIP room or something.
Yeah.
And I got tired of doing it over and over. So now whenever I see a tourist with the cloud above their head, I just ignore them. I did it once or twice and I was like, okay, that's...
So I felt bad. I made them a little DJ room and it was confusing because I had already made a VIP room. So I kind of made the same one again. And I was like, okay, here you go.
That's how the VIP room works. The other guest rooms, you can change them if you want, but the VIP room, you have to redo it every time.
Okay, so that's my first update from my island. Second update is Bettina, a little cute mouse. She came up to me and she had the cloud on her head too. And she said, you know, I think it's time for me to like spread my wings. And like, I want to, like, she wants to be a superstar, right, David?
Right.
And she's like, I got to get off this island. I was like, I told her, I was sad because I like the little cute mouse, but I was like, you know what? Go with your heart. So I let her go. Today is her last day on the island. So we're going to have a going away ceremony for her.
Right.
Which means I think I might get Minoru to move into my island.
Dude, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I have Minoru. I did that with the 8-bit Link amiibo. I also have the Wolf Link amiibo from Twilight Princess. I don't know if that summons Minoru as well, or if it summons the other character. What's their name?
Tulin.
Yeah, I kind of want both of them, but I don't know who I'd kick out at this point. I'm really happy with my Islanders.
I find Tulin to be annoying as a character, although his power in Tears of the Kingdom is great. I just think Minoru is like one of the most badass sages of all time. So I'm like, I want Minoru on my island. So yeah, I'm going to get Minoru on my island. But yeah, that's my update. I'm still playing it. I'm pretty much getting back into playing it once a day because it's not Ball Pit. I think I might be getting tired of Ball Pit.
I mean, you've certainly gotten your money's worth out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You exhausted that well, yeah.
And that update, like I've beaten every level with the new 2 characters. So like I like it's
damn.
You saw like I'm in fast mode now, and then I have New Game Plus, New Game Plus Plus. No offense to Ball Pit, I have over 100 hours in it. I love the game. I think it's time for me to play other video games again, and just in time because I really can't wait for Mario Tennis Fever, Donovan. But yeah, David, you got an update on your island? What's going on over there on Bibliola?
Bibliola is doing pretty well. Got Minoru. I'm also back into the swing of playing it once per day. I'm just listening to an audiobook, doing my dailies. But I'm working on my Slumber Island, not the island itself. I've just been focused on my house. I now have a sauna. I have, I'm building a concert hall downstairs. I have a wrestling arena upstairs. And I'm also, I have a Splatoon room now. I went to the exchange and got a $20 amiibo. And I got all the Splatoon items, so I've been decorating that room. The Splatoon items are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just been doing more interior decorating. You have any Splatoon amiibo, Asif?
I don't.
You'll have to remind me next time we go to the office. You can use mine just to unlock the items for sale.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm collecting hearts right now. Not the heart containers, but I got like I have this walking path in the back of my island now. If you go to this one side of it, it's all hearts. It's like when you run on it, it's like all the hearts go up in the air.
Yeah.
So I'm doing stuff like that, and I'm starting to buy Guardians because I'm gonna like kind of my Lost Woods project. I'm gonna put a bunch of Guardians in places and stuff. So
nice vibes.
Yeah, I'm like working on that. So yeah, that's coming along. I'm gonna be using like shrubs in that project, so it's gonna take a while. And like I see all this other stuff people are doing, I'm like, you guys are so much faster than me. I don't time travel, so I'm just playing the game at my pace. But it's nice. It's a nice break from everything else. It's a nice break from reality to play that game. But yeah, speaking of breaks from reality, Tomodachi Life, we got that direct, Donovan.
Yes,
that game is looking pretty sweet. It's coming out. I think we got a release date. It's coming out in April. I think the biggest news in that direct is they made good on their promise of like diverse relationships, like same-sex relationships. You can be non-binary. You can fall in love with a clown. That whole cutscene with like
that was awesome.
Like it's called kokuhaku in Japan, where you like do you declare your love for someone. So like declaring your love for the clown, and then like this other lady appearing underneath the bench is like, no, I love the clown. And then like another person shows up, I know I love the clown. And then the clown has to decide who they love.
And then he doesn't pick the character that we've been following the whole direct. This character Angie they've created.
Angie's like heartbroken at the end of the direct.
She's like shaking with anticipation, and he picks this other character, and it's like perfectly Tomodachi Life, because that's like the fun of the game. It's just all the weird little like interactions these characters have. and how their lives just veer into wildly different directions.
The other thing they announced, they're going to restrict image sharing features in the game.
I mean, and we don't know the specifics of this yet, but this is such a shooting yourself in the foot moment for Nintendo, because Tomodachi Life, I mean, is all about virality. I mean, look at the Direct. After the Direct, I was seeing fan art of Hugh Morris, which was the clown.
Yeah.
That does the, like, I feel like myself again. He does the weird pose. Like, people have already latched on to, like, these characters, and that's the whole fun, is you put, like, you know, Barack Obama and Kendrick Lamar at a bar, and you make them talk to each other and stuff, and you post it on Twitter. So,
yeah.
I get why they're not doing
You
it.
know why.
I,
Come on.
people like to, you know, they put interesting people in Tomodachi Life. They recreate
You know who.
interesting real-life figures.
Yes.
Some alive, some deceased.
Yeah, a couple of them are deceased. I've seen a couple of deceased public figures who are heavily featured already. People are making memes for these characters already. I did find it hilarious how long of this direct they dedicated to explaining what Mii's were. I was like,
I know.
who are you talking to, Nintendo? Like,
Yeah, I know.
like, we know. Like, I was like, you're really gonna spend this long explaining Mii's to people? I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, dude, you know, I don't even need to say. I'm not even gonna say who it is. But I have seen especially that you can have same-sex relationships of people. Like, there are ways to defame all sorts of celebrities in this game now. And Nintendo is going to try to prevent that. But they're not going to be able to do it because guess what? I can plug this into a capture card. And I can screenshot and capture whatever I want. So, like, good luck, Nintendo.
Everyone has one of these, and you can just...
Yeah, you can just take a picture.
Be a shitty image, but yeah, anyone can take a picture.
Anyone can take a picture of their screen. Yeah, like, so it's like, yeah, Nintendo, I know what you're doing. I understand what you're doing. And honestly, David, I think this kind of transitions perfectly into our next topic. But, like, Nintendo, you're covering your ass here, and I don't know if it's even necessary. I really don't. And that leads us perfectly to this next story, which is our last story of the show. This dispatch censorship thing. I was so excited. Guys, like right after the podcast last week, I pre-ordered Dispatch. I was like, man, I'm excited to have Dispatch on Switch 2. I like went up there and I was like, buy. Instant buy, right? And then it was like 30 minutes later, Donovan, this story comes out. They censored Dispatch.
They did.
On the Switch, on the Switch 2.
A lot of different ways. It's obviously there's black bars over all the genitals, the boobs, but there's even like some audio censoring. There's some like sexual sound effects that are like muted in certain parts of the game. I haven't verified this myself, but I saw somebody say that like the middle fingers are blurred out at one point. There's like a bar over middle fingers that somebody gives. Yeah, and this like very quickly snowballed out of control and became a huge story. So much so that Nintendo and Ad Hoc Studio released separate statements within like days of this kind of hitting the internet, because obviously Dispatch was a massive game, sold over 3 million copies last year on PC, PS5.
Shacknews Game of the Year 2025.
Shacknews Game of the Year 2025. There was a lot of anticipation for it to come to Switch 2, and I think rightfully so. People were like really pissed off about this. I think people were really annoyed about this because Dispatch 1 is a rated M video game. Violent language, imagery, sexual content is all like ingrained in the DNA of what this game is and its story and its characters. And I think to not have the option is what really rubbed people the wrong way, because when you start up Dispatch on PC or PS5, you can turn off nudity and all that stuff, and it'll give you the black bars, and you don't have to worry about seeing it if that's your preference, or you're showing the game to somebody, you're streaming it, whatever. But it was the idea that you can't, that the Switch 2 version of the game and Switch 1 version of the game had made the choice for you and had censored content throughout the game. And I wrote a feature about it, and now we have contradictory statements. We have different accounts from Ad Hoc who have kind of come out and said now that like they're working with Nintendo to restore some. They use the word some of the censored content in the game, implying that it won't be all of it. Nintendo said they didn't Nintendo's statement was very Nintendo corporate, where they were like, they said we didn't force anybody to do anything. And then I have this Go Nintendo article from yesterday or the other day where they talked to a representative at Ad Hoc where this is a quote from an Ad Hoc person. Ad Hoc is legally unable to provide further comment on why separate SKUs were not possible for different regions. Because one of the prevailing theories is that this is because of
Zero.
or Zero,
Yeah.
which is like the Japanese ratings board. When Cyberpunk came to Switch 2, they released two versions. There's the Japanese version, which is censored, and then there's the everywhere else in the world version, which isn't. And people were like, why didn't Ad Hoc do that? And then Ad Hoc just said they legally can't say why, which, whatever that means. So, yeah, this has become a huge can of worms.
David, I know you hate this story.
I do hate this story because it reminds me of Mortal Kombat on Super NES all over again, where they censored it. And guess what? The Genesis version outsold it 5-1. And in fact, even though Mortal Kombat 2 was uncensored on Super Nintendo, the Genesis version, despite being inferior, outsold that version again just because of the snowball effect of the first game. So I just don't like censorship in any form. I feel like there's a double standard with this. I don't understand why this has been kind of singled out when there are all these hentai games on the Switch eShop. Now, we were talking beforehand that it has to do, or it might have to do with promotion. Like if they want to be promoted on the eShop,
Yeah.
then they need the censorship in place. But I don't think they need the promotion, honestly. I think that the word of mouth, the Game of the Year award from us, the other awards that they've won, this game went from like kind of a curiosity to a mega hit last year.
Yep.
They don't really need promotion on the eShop. But we were talking about this as well. Like, I don't even look at the best sellers list on the eShop or what's being promoted. I just search for what I want. And Nintendo search is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I just don't get this. I was pretty, I don't want to say upset. That's like too strong a word, but I was pretty frustrated about this just because it reminded me of Nintendo's pearl clutching from back in the day, and I don't see the need for it. I will not be buying this version. I'll say that.
I feel hornswoggled by buying it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
Right.
but at the same time, like my use case for it was like, I want to play this on a plane. If I'm like sitting next to you on a plane and you see Robert's dong, you're probably not going to be that happy with me. But why not just give me the option to toggle it on and off? That's which is what you can do in Night City and in Cyberpunk. And like Cyberpunk proves that there was a way forward here where they could have done this, right? Like they could have done multiple SKUs. I wonder if it's Ad Hoc doesn't have the budget for this, or if there was some other kind of financing agreement that they can't, like that whole, like, we can't say why thing. It feels like there's a contract involved somewhere in this. Like, they can't breach that contract. But also, yeah, like, they are an indie studio. This is their first game. So it's, like, a little different than, like, CD Projekt Red, right? Like, that was, like, a launch title on the Switch, too. And, like, but yeah, like, I wouldn't have bought this. If I knew that they were doing this, I wouldn't have bought it. And I did. And like I'm like, well, I guess I own it now. But I haven't played it. And like I was like actually excited for it to come out there. And like I'm not gonna. I already played through it on my PC. I can do it again on my PC, right? Like my whole thing, Donovan, is like I was on Team Vizzy on my first playthrough. So I was gonna join the dark side of Donovan's over here and go Team Blazer for my second playthrough. I don't know if it's the dark side or the light side, honestly. I'm probably on the dark side.
She has light powers.
I guess you're right. I'm on the dark side over here. Anyway, I can fix it, Visigal, damn it. No, I can't. She's very broken. But yeah, like I was gonna do another playthrough. I really was. I was like, I want to go the opposite direction, right? Like I'm gonna go out to dinner with Blazer, right? Like instead of going to the movie with Invisigal. Isn't that like that huge moment, right? Like, is that
episode 4? Yeah, and you get two different songs. You get "Feel the Way I Do" with Blazer, and then you get "Little Light Wasted." I think is the Blonde Blazer one. And they actually had an interesting quote about this. I think in December where they were talking about, because obviously Invisigal is the more popular romancing option in Dispatch by a decent margin. And one of the devs were saying that they regret The way they present a lot of the options to you pushes players towards Invisigal.
Yeah.
Specifically, that scene you reference, Asif. The way they set it up is like you see Invisigal like sitting by herself, alone, looking up at the screen, and then Blonde Blazer's like a text. She like sends you like a text, and it's like, if we could go back, you should have seen her at dinner, or like waiting, or getting ready, or whatnot.
Yeah.
Interesting dev reflection there, but yeah.
But also, like, I don't know, did you kiss her earlier in the game?
Of course I did, of course.
Right? So, like, you kiss her, and then you find out she has a boyfriend who could destroy you, right? And it's like,
Whoops.
you're already like,
Whoops.
you're like, so, like, you're set up in a way where you're like, I don't want to get destroyed by Phenomenon, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it does push you towards Invisigal a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, yeah.
because you're like, you get this, like, Blazer's even like, I shouldn't have done this, or like, she's like a little too professional. I think she's presented.
People
in a way.
thought she was evil when this game was coming out. I've gone back and found articles because it was an episodic release. Like when we were around episodes like 4, people were like, "Oh, she's evil. She's gonna turn. She's like Shroud's daughter." That was the theory floating around. They tried to besmirch my girl, man, all throughout.
I knew Invisigal was bad the whole time. I was just down. That's really what it boiled down to with me. I was just like, I know you're broken, but I can fix you. That was my whole attitude with her. I'm like, I know you're messed up, but I'm down. Like, Blonde Blazer, we talked about it off camera. We don't need to talk about it here. I just sent you that GIF when I saw your response to the Shack chat. I sent Donovan a Dr. Umar GIF this weekend. But yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that they censored this game. I don't like Nintendo's response. I feel bad for Ad Hoc. I feel like they're in a weird position here.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. The theory I think I subscribe to is that, yeah, they could have done 2 SKUs like CD Projekt Red did, but Ad Hoc Studio is not CD Projekt Red. That might have been a lot of manpower and legwork or extra time they didn't want to allot to have 2 separate, to tweet, they didn't have to do 2 versions on the PS5, and
Yeah.
PC and whatnot. Maybe they didn't have time or energy for that. Maybe, like you said, contracting, maybe there's a studio that helped them out that could be partially responsible that they didn't disclose or contractually can't disclose, involvement. A lot of reasons. I don't think we're going to get the full story. I think the likely outcome here is we'll get a slightly less censored version, and that'll be the end of it, and they'll move on. But
like, back to David's point, though, Nintendo having religion about the eShop when it's just full of hentai trash is just comedy in 2026. It's like, Nintendo, you are not holier than thou. You are just as hentai-ridden as Steam. And it's like, get over yourself. And yeah, like, I wish Ad Hoc, if it is a situation about promotion, I agree with you, David. They didn't need it. All they needed was people to be able to go into eShop, type in Dispatch, and download the game. But then maybe they would have cut themselves off of the Japanese market or something. Like, I get it. It's an unfortunate situation, and you're right, David. It echoes the Mortal Kombat issues of the 90s, and I think it kind of like this Tomodachi story. Like, Nintendo is always covering their ass, and it's just to the detriment of games sometimes, to the detriment of user experience sometimes, and it's still the case.
I think this echoes 90s Nintendo in another way, where because they're on top of the mountain right now, they kind of feel like they can do whatever they want. Whereas it took Sega outselling the Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat, outselling the SNES version, to make Nintendo go, oh, okay, shoot, we want to sell units here. We want units on our system. Nothing like that has happened with Dispatch yet. I don't even know if it will. Maybe this will get resolved. I don't know. But it just makes me feel like there are 2 different Nintendos, and you've spoken about this a lot, also. There's Nintendo when they're down and in the corner, and there's Nintendo when they're the ones putting people in corners, and this is the latter right now.
Yeah, Nintendo definitely doesn't have their back up against the wall. That was 2016, 2017 when they Tiger Uppercut with the Switch, and they came back, right? This is Nintendo with $16 billion of cash on their balance sheet, a Mario movie coming. They don't need Dispatch. In their head, right? They need games like Dispatch to be on their system. They need cool games. They want cool devs, but like, it wouldn't have killed them. And I think I don't see how Ad Hoc would have done this without someone telling them to do it. They had to go out of their way to do this.
Yeah,
they
and
made the game. They made the mature content in the game. If they didn't, if they had any reservations about it, it wouldn't have been in the game.
Yeah.
I'm interested in sales data for this. I don't know if or when we'll get it, but
Yeah.
I feel like this will be a Mortal Kombat scenario again, where if this version doesn't sell that well, maybe Nintendo will rethink this.
I can confirm one sale by me.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, action-packed episode, over 2 hours long. We're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. If you like this content, give us a like, follow, and subscribe. If you want to hear more about the finance side of gaming and technology, I had a Game Trader episode just last week. You can check that out on our YouTube channel. The VOD is there. I saw Donovan chimed in on a couple of those topics. I will be back with another episode on February 27th for that. We'll be back next week to talk about more Nintendo news. I'm sure I'll have some more thoughts about the stocks movement between now and then. We tend to get a briefing from Furukawa-san here in the next day or so. So there's probably more Nintendo news to drop that we'll be talking about next episode. And then, yeah, we got the upcoming launch of Mario Tennis Fever, which I'm really looking forward to, Donovan. Your preview has me excited for that game. But yeah, we're going to get going. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.